COVID situation, and from many reasons that this conference summit has a significance that the sign recovery, we're just coming out of the sign in the festive season, and a whole lot of things making very difficult. I really want to congratulate the organizers and the participants here. And of course, Honorable Chief Guest, Minister of Energy Resources, Water Resources and Irrigation, Ms. Pablo, Honorable Minister of Finance was supposed to be here, and he will be arriving later this afternoon. And the secretaries and excellencies, and I really want to appreciate the presence of Her Excellency Australian Ambassador Felicity Bolt, as we are from Australia, and I really appreciate your support. While she will be chairing in the afternoon session, but she has offered and enthusiastically came this morning. Thank you very much, Felicity. And fellow representatives of development partners, ADB and IFC and the like, and financial institutions, fellow entrepreneurs, and media personalities. Good morning and a very warm welcome to the very first Green Hydrogen Summit in Nepal. So we have copyrighted NGHS, that means ORG. This is just the first. Okay, we are on the race. The race starts from today. Okay, so this will not be the last. So thank you very much, and then we here today extremely satisfied to see a variety of distinguished guests in this room from various sectors and the backgrounds and the geographies, of course, and we'll have some connections online from various locations as well. Let us recognize that we all share a deep interest and commitment to sustainable solutions to climate emergencies. I think we are on climate emergencies, energy security, and transitions to renewables. Today's summit is our first milestone on exploring the possibilities of development and application of green hydrogen in Nepal. The idea came, I could claim as an idea, not necessarily, maybe came about just over a year and a half ago. Time spent in the lockdown capital of the universe. Do any of you know that we were known as lockdown capital of the universe, Melbourne, Australia? Our memory is very short, it's forgotten now, but we had 6 or 7 lockdowns, and so it's almost 1 year duration. So that has been useful, thinking through, all kind of perspectives, what would be, how things, scenarios, and so forth. So my wife, Jamuna, and myself, we were going through all these ideas, and then of course you are thinking those days, those times were more like not only for yourself, it's more like for the community, civic responsibility, because we were thinking all kind of worst case scenarios. We were not thinking of this situation today. We were thinking going back to the mountains, where we come from, we could still live, and grow our fields and so forth, a very worst case scenario. So out of those thinking process, and we were thinking about the capability, self-sufficiency necessary for economic and individual prosperity of Nepal, always thinking about Nepal. With recent acute energy crisis around the world, it made us to think its impact on Nepal, as Nepal totally depends on imported hydrocarbons and fertilizers. For the last, and of course through extensive research and consultations, with global experts as an organization at MIT Foundation. Okay, and now, of course, in association with the Global NRN Foundation, the government of Nepal and various international partners who are present here, and we have come to this point. After researching various reports and articles, we have discovered around 40,000 people die every year, which is directly related to poor air quality in Nepal. So this is backed by research. Just a second, I've got a little bit of emergency here. Similarly, children born today, a child born today will have their life shortened by more than 2 years because of air pollution. Likewise, our Himalayas are melting. 2020 study projected eastern end of the range in Nepal and Bhutan could lose as much as 60% of its ice mass by 2100. Okay, not that far. Relative to 2015, even in a low emissions scenario due to global warming. Isn't this alarming? Certainly, there is no more climate change, but we have climate emergency today. With the aim of finding solutions for this, we have further explored a bigger overarching and pressing agenda of greening Nepal. Whilst the whole world has already embarked on alternative and renewable energies with the aim of saving the environment and reducing carbon emissions, fulfilling respective climate goals, it came across our minds that yet once again we need to be part of this global movement by taking the leadership to start this initiative in our home country, Nepal, with the hope that it can leave a lasting impact that will not only benefit the coming generations, but also something that they can be proud of. Further, an uncertain economic environment, escalating climate vulnerability, the increasing economic and social cost of climate change, and the need for all countries to reduce their carbon emissions compels Nepal to use this window of opportunity not just to internalize environmental externalities, but also to proactively pursue innovative long-run multipliers. Moreover, the recent Russia-Ukraine war have signaled to the world that it is time to focus on going local, being able to sustain and resilient in key strategic areas like energy, fertilizers, and agricultural products. Thus, there is a compelling argument for investment in clean energy sector and sustainable solutions to mitigate the impacts of climate change, as well as helping economic growth and creating jobs. Of course, we don't talk much here in this country, creating jobs, right? But the rest of the world, in many countries, politicians, the government's priority is creating jobs. But I just wonder in this country, no, we don't talk much about creating jobs. This is the main objective of this summit, transition to green economy by seizing the opportunities for sustainable development and climate goals. We must not forget our climate goals, our commitments to Paris Agreement. Energy transition, it's as we speak, that's just what I'm fitting in Australia where I live. There is a summit going, energy transition, energy, climate and energy, right? So everywhere we're talking the same thing. That's why we are on the race. And the food security in Nepal, amazing $500 million worth of rice imported to Nepal from India. So this is just amazing situation. We are at risk, not having food. In recent years, Nepal relies heavily, as I said, imported foods as well as fertilizers like urea. Already spoken, minister spoke, and before I forget, I'm really pleased that I have put some complaints here. The issues that I was going to raise already, I heard from the government, from the minister, that there is a commitment to transit to green hydrogen. Even Nepal faces fertilizers supply shortages, we all know that. But then we forget, comes the harvesting season, only we think, we start talking. So green hydrogen and subsequent production of green ammonia can tackle the problem of supply of fertilizer as well as reduce reliance on fossil fuel to some extent in transportation and industrial sectors with the use of green hydrogen. The beauty in this country is we don't have much of incumbency issues here. Incumbent industries except the cement industry, right? So we're not highly industrialized country, therefore energy transition is not that hard, and you're starting from zero, which is we don't have to dismantle things. So we have the technology, of course, up for grabs for everybody, and we don't have to reinvent. Since source of electricity in Nepal is hydroelectricity, of course, and the country is rich with water resources, green hydrogen can be cost competitive, which I already spoken, in global green hydrogen market. So I read one of the research papers that Saudi Arabia and Nepal, has the potential to produce global benchmark cheap hydrogen. And also I think the power of nations with the transition of energy, geopolitical situation will be changed. Nepal will be a very powerful country because of its easy transition to renewable energies. So there are statistics, of course, and benchmark being it's a very much moving piece at the moment. As the cost of electrolyzer is coming down, and there are competition producing and making electrolyzers, and therefore it is good news for us that India, I heard that they are saying less than $1 per kilogram hydrogen. So I think there is a good news in the horizon. So the way that I understood is we have an upstream supply of electricity. If we could purchase electricity, because there are two components. One is the capex, capital investment, which is the electrolyzer majority. Then, of course, continuous supply of electricity, consumption of electricity, which is a operational cost, OPEX. If electricity can be purchased, let's say, per unit 3 rupees, and electrolyzer cost coming down, potentially we can produce green hydrogen in Nepal at benchmark cost, global benchmark cost. Along with the opportunities, there are also challenges, of course. To realize these opportunities, the important step is to create an enabling environment and policies conducive to green hydrogen, which we have spoken already. Green hydrogen policy is required to open the door to a promising green hydrogen economy. The government of Nepal does not seem to have formulated a roadmap of green hydrogen economy. I think firstly we need to have a roadmap. let alone green hydrogen policy. But cooperation and support from key ministers encourage us to be here today. Otherwise, it wouldn't have happened. Good news is big corporations, funding agencies, investment banks, all are catching up with ESG-focused investments. As investments become more focused on ethical parameters, such projects, I'm talking about a project in Nepal, from hydrogen to hydroelectricity to hydrogen, would be attractive for ESG investment. Environmental, social, governance, or in other words, exchangeably often used as ethical investment. Through its CO2 emission abatement, one of the things, green bonds may be a suitable vehicle, concessional lending, and some form of gap funding is essential to break even the project in initial years. We're talking about break even only, okay? Because ESG is a big thing. We have to be responsible. We shouldn't be only driven for commercial and for profits. Okay? The world is towards more responsible investment. It will happen. As usual in the case, entrepreneurs who are heavily principled on ESG must lead such projects, as always the case. Then policies follow. We're not going to wait for policies. Otherwise, how could we be entrepreneurs, right? And policies can go in tandem. We know the bureaucracy. Minister wants things now, but bureaucratic hurdles, we have a systemic problem. Then we're not waiting those problems to be resolved and then start your project, okay? We have to start somewhere. Therefore, through this summit, we want to bring dialogues for investments and policy decisions in green hydrogen technology and its integration into Nepal's economy that will help Nepal ride the green energy wave, develop a competitive edge and be part of global green hydrogen value chain. So it's essentially greening Nepal and moving into first ever green economy. This summit will revive the zeal for policy reforms, innovative financial modalities, direct FDI, further engagement of private sector, technology adaptation, solid foundation of policies, strategies and governance. Whilst we advocate conducive policy frameworks, we have to be mindful of what not to do, not only what to do, what not to do. Not to do would be something like keep subsidizing the polluters, all the emitters. We have to rethink about cement industries. Ladies and gentlemen, over the last 20-25 years, Nepal embarked on hydroelectricity. Now it's time to capitalize and extend the journey from hydro to hydrogen. How fantastic is this? We are already on hydro. The next step is hydrogen. We are already on renewables. So it's renewables to renewables. That means Nepal can be free from hydrocarbons. Nepal can be free from imported fossil fuels. Nepal can be free from imported fertilizers and protecting food security. Nepal can be free from CO2, from supply chain of fossil fuels, to value chain of green hydrogen, to green ammonia, to green urea, etc. Cleaner transport mobility, cleaner industries to households. Our mountains can breathe fresh air and Himalayas can last forever. then rivers can flow forever, and our children, grandchildren, born and unborn, can live longer, healthier, and prosperous. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the very green hydrogen summit in Nepal, first green hydrogen summit in Nepal, but will certainly not be the last one. We will keep doing this. We will keep doing this and keep learning and trying to bring best practices from all over the world. Everybody is learning. We are on a level playing field, as I said. We're all starting from the same point. That's the beauty. Australia is starting from the same point. Nepal is starting from the same point, right? The oil producing countries, they're restarting from the same point. They have a little bit incumbency, advantage. They've got the capital, they've got the muscle, right? And they have learned a lot by upstreaming. And we don't have to upstream. We just, I don't know, midstream or whatever term it is called, used. Maybe we started from midstream, not from upstream. I heard proponents of hydrogen, okay, they say this, a lot of people say this with conviction and confidence. What they were saying, there is no pathway to net zero for any country. There is no pathway without these green molecules. Okay, that is just true. Hydrogen. Thank you very much.